Hello and welcome to After the Whistle. I am your host, Brian Dorrington, here with Meerkat Mukala Kabungo.
It's Thirsty Thursday.
Well, yeah, we are pretty thirsty. We drink so much water around here.
Yeah.
Just got a W. Mason shipment.
This is going to be a good episode, right?
You think so?
Yeah.
Wow, that's okay.
There's a lot.
We're changing it up then, I guess, for the first time.
There's a lot to digest.
All right, well, let's just jump right into it. Patriots, they got a new wide receiver, Coleman, former first-round draft pick, was drafted by the Browns, traded to the Bills for a seventh-round pick just a few weeks ago, cut by the Bills, signed by the Patriots. What do you think?
This is the best thing that could ever happen to him.
Coleman, absolutely.
The absolute best thing. He went from football abyss to another football abyss, and now the greatest quarterback probably of the last 18 years is going to be throwing you the ball. So he just needs to make himself available, be productive, get open, and I'm sure Brady is good at making receivers a lot better than they were on their previous team. So I think that this is a good pickup because Chris Hogan didn't have a good game. We're going to talk about that later. But, the Patriots are kind of short on receivers, and this is a good pickup for them.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people are kind of blasting it or saying that it's not going to do anything. I mean, he's had trouble in Cleveland. Yeah. I mean, how many players have had trouble in Cleveland? And then you're right, he goes to Buffalo. I guess the knock on him is that it's not his ability, it's that he's tough for him to learn the offenses. Yeah. But he's with Josh McDaniels now, and like you said, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. They're going to coach him up. I don't expect him to make an immediate impact, but he has a first-round draft pick. He was a first-round draft pick, and he has what you cannot teach, speed, which is, I think, the most important thing in a wide receiver. If you can take that raw talent and ability and hone it, and maybe it's not this year, or this early in the season, because look at Philip Dorsett. It took him a year, similar type players, another first-round draft pick. We can talk about Dorsett later, but I think it's a good, low-risk pickup.
Definitely. I'm sure this will help down the line later on in the season because it's not that hard to learn an NFL offense for wide receivers. There's only probably like 5 routes you need to know. A deep route, a slant and goal. It's all the same routes, just different verbiage. That's all it is. So I believe this is a solid pickup for them. And, we'll see how it folds out during the latter part of the season. But they needed a receiver. They needed one. I'm surprised they didn't get Dez, but, hey, there's still time. There's still time. They got a younger receiver. It's a solid pickup.
And faster. Not as accomplished, but apparently he's probably better in the locker room than Dez. Who knows?
Yeah, probably. And other Patriots news, sad news, Jeremy Hill, done for the season. Womp, womp, womp.
You kind of position that as he passed away or passed on some sad news. No, it's just an injury, folks. That's it. It's just a knee.
He didn't die.
He's still with us, just not with us in team
tore his
spirit.
ACL. He didn't have the best game the other day. But
he didn't play much.
Yeah, he didn't give him the ball that much. I think he was going to be one of those players I saw that they could use during the end of the season when it gets cold, in the snow, because he is a heavy running back. He does take a lot of contact. And he can absorb the contact, so I thought he was going to be key later on in the season, come November, December. But he's done. So now James White is still here, Rex Burkhead, Sony Michel. At some point he'll get on the field, hopefully. So
recently signed Kenyon Barner.
So another speed guy. So the Patriots, they have an influx of running backs. So this is,
But he was meant to be the jackhammer, power back, LeGarrette Blount type role. When you have a lead in the fourth quarter and you just need a grinder to grind it out. Somebody that's just when the defense is already tired, that just tackling them tires them out. So they missed that guy. And who was it in the preseason? I think Sims. I mentioned him.
The guy we couldn't remember his name.
The guy we couldn't really remember his name, but he had a similar style, and I think he was signed to the practice squad. I should do more research before going into this. But if Sims is still around, Sims, you're always welcome back on the Patriots, at least according to me, or on the show especially. But, we do need, I think, kind of one of those hard-hitting LeGarrette Blount goal line type backs.
Because the ones we have now, they're all kind of scat backs, speedy backs that could run and catch. They're not really...
Yeah, all undersized.
Yeah, so I'm sure they'll pick somebody up in the waiver wire or sometime during the season. But that's just sad to go down week 1. But
that's football. Knee injuries, man.
And other good news: the Pats, they had a dominating performance against the Texans. This was if you looked at the score, the game wasn't as close as the scoreboard said it was.
Right.
It was not. The second possession of the game for the Texans, they fumbled the ball.
Yeah, I think it was the first possession of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, the Patriots defense. The Patriots defense came out to play.
Absolutely.
They came out to play. They gave Deshaun Watson a hard time. You could tell he was rusty, and the pressure the Patriots defense was putting on him didn't help his rust at all. So the Patriots, they came out offensively. Gronk, he's the most unstoppable tight end. James White catching the ball out the backfield. So the Patriots, they had a solid game. I was really impressed with the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were doing it without, if you listen to Tony Romo's broadcast, they were doing it without blitzing. They were rushing 4 guys a lot of the time and 5 guys occasionally, but they weren't blitzing that much, and they were still able to get that penetration up front, which is something that they didn't have last year, something that we were worried about and we talked about in the preseason, and that they need a pass rush. And it seems like they had it. And Stephon Gilmore had a great game against DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins still managed to break free a few times, but it was very promising to see Stephon Gilmore go up against one of the top 3 wide receivers and be able to hold his own. And for the Patriots secondary in general to be able to contain him.
Philip Dorsett, 7 catches, 66 yards. I think you said it earlier, he's coming along. I think, this is good signs from him. For the first game is good sign. Next game is going to be a tough one. But game 1, good signs all around from offensively and defensively. They held the Texans. The Texans couldn't really do much. It took a muffed punt for them to get back to make the game look closer than it was, but they really couldn't do much. They couldn't get to Brady at all. Did they even have any sacks?
I don't know. That's something I want to bring up. They did a great job of stopping J.J. Watt.
Yeah, and
Jadeveon Clowney. So the offensive line did a really good job up front. Overall, you can't really look at this game and pick out a negative for the Patriots. I mean, what are you going to do besides a muff punt? And the Patriots got a few bad calls towards the end, which led to some points that make the game look closer, like you said. But if you look at the game for a week 1 game, there's not much to pick apart for the Patriots. It was a great performance.
Solid job by them. Now we got the game of the week. But it's only in week 2. It should have been later in the season. But the Jaguars going to Jacksonville, playing against the stingy Jaguars defense.
Okay, I had the rundown mixed up. Okay, yeah, sure, we'll get into the
And the great Blake Bortles.
The great.
I'm just
so all time, the Patriots are 11-1 against the Jaguars. All time, Jaguars' last win was close to 20 years ago.
It was like 1999 or something.
So this is like the Texans. The Patriots own the Texans. The Patriots own the Jaguars. Leonard Fournette might not play. He's got a hamstring injury. Even if he does play, he's not going to be 100%.
Yeah.
To me, I'm all right. What are you most excited about? Let's start there. What are you most excited to see?
You know what I'm most excited about?
Probably what I'm going to say.
Jalen Ramsey and Gronk. That's about it. There's nothing about this Jaguars offense that excites me. I mean, Blake Bortles against the Giants. He was 18 for 33, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That's Blake Bortles for you. That's him. That's him. He's and who on that Jaguars offense is like, dude, we got to stop this guy. Who? Receivers, don't know none of the receivers. Running back, TJ Yeldon is going to be the running back. So what exactly, the defense is going to keep them in the game, but the Jaguars offense puts no fear in anybody, and I don't think the Patriots defense got to worry so much about the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. They're going to have to wear down their defense. That's basically what it is. Wear that defense down, keep them on the field for long periods of time, because if their offense can't generate any first downs or convert any third downs, then Patriots can just wear them down and run away with this. Because this Jaguars offense just doesn't do nothing for me. Their defense against the Giants, 2 sacks, 1 interception, a pick 6. So their defense is gonna play hard, but I don't know if they can sustain it.
I mean, their defense is great. It's the same defense from last year, which was probably the best defense in the year. Yeah. And all the guys, the young guys, Miles Jack, Jalen Ramsey, they have another year of experience under their belt. So I'm looking forward to the Jalen Ramsey thing too. I'm curious, how is he going to follow him all around the field? Are they going to put Gronk out wide? Will Ramsey follow Gronk when he goes inside? What do they plan on doing? Because who else is really a threat that you want to put Jalen Ramsey on, you know? Yeah. Do you want to put Jalen Ramsey on Dorsett? I mean, Dorsett had a good game, but then they have A.J. Boye, who's another all-star, who will probably be lined up against whatever one of the receivers out there. So it'll be very interesting, and I hope Gronk just tears them apart. Because as we know, the reason why everybody likes it, why we're looking forward to this, is because Jalen Ramsey said that Gronk is overrated or not that good.
Yeah,
something
which is foolish. And also last year they had safety coverage a lot on Gronk. Well, the time he was in before he got the concussion, so they covered him with the safeties, Barry Church.
Yeah, they're going to probably double team him.
Yeah. And they'd be wise to double team him. You put one guy on him, and he's 6'6". You just throw the ball, he's gonna catch it anyway. So it'd be wise for them to double team him. If they don't, then it's gonna be a long day for them.
And we just need to keep Calais Campbell in check, like we kept J.J. Watt in check.
Definitely.
And I think the Patriots will have an easy win here.
In other AFC East news, the Buffalo Bills have named your guy, Josh Allen, starter for Week 2.
Like they should have done in Week 1.
After that, I don't even know what to call that performance by Nate Peterman against the Baltimore
You
Ravens.
can just call it a Peterman. That should be called whenever a quarterback plays that bad, you could just say, oh yeah, he pulled a Peterman.
God, he was god awful.
I told you that. I told you that would happen.
We all knew this. We all knew this would happen. And this just makes the Bills look more foolish for trading away 2 of their veterans. But
yeah.
Peterman, 5 for 18, 24 yards. Him and Josh Allen combined to go 11 for 33 for 70 yards, and a total they were sacked 6 times. That's terrible, terrible. Oh, and Calvin Benjamin, the guy who said, "Give him any other quarterback besides Cam Newton, and he'll do great." 1 catch for 10 yards.
I think that they made a huge mistake. First of all, I said last week that they should have started Josh Allen because we know what Nathan Peterman is. He's a guy who, in his first start, threw 5 interceptions in the first half. Josh Allen, they should have started him. What they did when they brought him in after Peterman was doing terrible, that's just throwing him to the wolves. The game was already out of hand at that point.
Yeah.
Why are you bringing in your rookie quarterback now? The guy that you didn't want to start. You think he's really going to come in and save the day especially with that offensive line and their lack of weapons?
Nah.
It was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
The Bills are the worst team in the NFL. By far. I don't know where they go from here. I don't know why they got rid of A.J. McCarron. He's not a great quarterback, but he's better than Peterman now, and I think Josh Allen will be good in the future, but A.J. McCarron should have not been traded to the Raiders. This team is just awful, and they made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they're fighting for that. They're playing for that #1 draft pick next season. That's what they're playing for. Because I don't see this team winning more than 4 games. I don't even see them winning 3 games. They are just that terrible. And now you're going to put in a guy, Josh Allen, who's never even completed 60% of his passes at any point of his football playing career.
Is that a fact? I didn't know that.
In high school, in college.
But he can throw far.
He can throw far, but he can't complete passes. So good luck, Buffalo, and we'll see you at the #1 pick next year's draft. In other AFC East news, the guy I said was a solid start for the.
I don't remember hearing that.
I said this.
I don't remember.
Lucky I didn't bring it up.
I don't think I heard it.
Sam Darnold.
We don't need to bring it up.
He must have had the. Well, this isn't the first time I've seen a rookie start. Their first NFL pass turned into a pick 6. Jameis Winston did it a couple years ago. So for this one, his first play, he decides to run one way and do the ultimate sin and throw across his
crossfield.
Yeah, and that just went for a pick 6, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be a disaster. But he bounced back. He had a solid game, 16 for 21, 198 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the Jets were helped by Matt Stafford, the guy who just likes throwing the ball to the other team. He threw 4 interceptions. One of them went for a pick 6. Matt Castle got thrown in the game too, and he threw an interception too. So this was a great start for the Jets. They had special teams touchdowns, they had offensive touchdowns, defensive touchdowns. They played a solid game. Sam Darnold, for his first start, it was great. The Lions, I told you they might be the worst team in that division, and Matt Stafford.
Yeah, so this is unsustainable for the Jets. This isn't going to happen again. They're not going to get 5 interceptions in a game.
Well,
the biggest story,
if they play Matt Stafford, dude.
or when they play the Bills, probably. Yeah.
Too.
So The bigger story here is what's going on with Matt Patricia. It seems like, according to some reports, he's losing the locker room. He came in, he's trying to be Bill Belichick, impose all these new rules on veterans, be this tough, firm, no phones in the locker room, no nonsense guy. And it seems kind of phony because everybody loved him in New England. He was known as a player's coach. And to hear these reports that he's already lost the team before week 1, it kind of just shows that maybe that Bill Belichick coaching tree just doesn't succeed. It just isn't passed on to people who have worked under him, because maybe they try to be like him, but nobody's like Bill Belichick. He's one of a kind. And it's very concerning. It's even more concerning that the Jets were saying that they were able to read all Stafford's signals because the offensive coordinator didn't change him up from last year. I don't know if that's true or not, but they seem to be on top of him, so maybe there's some truth to that.
Hey, when you're the Detroit Lions, your culture of losing, you just, I got to try something new with these people. They're so used to losing that they don't even want to change the way they approach games, the way, or pre-games or whatever, the locker room. I don't blame Matt Patricia for trying to change the environment in the locker room, because the Lions have been bad for so many years. But the Lions had Jim Caldwell as a coach. He was doing great. He made the playoff 2 times out of his 4 years there. That's probably the most success a coach has had there.
Well, I mean, his best year where he went 9-7. So
no, he had a 10-6 year.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, he had a 10-6 year. But that's just the Lions. That's all. That's That's the peak Lions. You're not going to get any better than that. So, I mean, kudos to Patricia for trying to change it. But these guys are so used to losing, they're just like,
And if that's the case, and if he is trying to do that, he's got to get rid of some of these veterans. And there's been
quarterback.
Wow, that's not going to happen. He's signed to a really big contract. But there's been some talk, Golden Tate to the Patriots, maybe for Donta Hightower. That'd be interesting. We could use a receiver. Who knows?
They just need a clean house.
They need
a clean house.
Well, they're starting with a new coach. I think that they'll probably split games with the Bears, but them and the Bears are by far the 2 worst teams in that division.
Yeah. Now let's go back to the NFC North. There was a Sunday night game which I fell asleep.
I did too.
It was 20-0 at some point. Khalil Mack was playing out of his mind, showing everybody why the Raiders look foolish for trading him the way they did. And then, in typical Bears fashion, the Bears do what they do. They let the Packers come back, and they give up a 70-yard long touchdown to basically seal the game.
Okay, but you're leaving out the fact that they were up because Aaron Rodgers was out of the game. So.
Yeah, he was out of the game, but they were getting to him. He didn't start the game off of it. He didn't have the best start to the game before he got injured. But this is just the Bears. This is the Bears. We're going to talk about another team that's, that does
culture of losing.
Culture of losing. The Bears have so much talent, but they're just
talent on defense. Do they really have? I mean, on offense, they got Jordan Howard. And Mitch Trubisky. We still don't know what to make of Mitch Trubisky yet.
So I mean, you're up 20-0, and they had a chance to intercept the ball to seal the game, and the player drops an interception. It was a gimme interception too, and he dropped it, and it's like.
See, I think this says more, and I don't like him that much as a person, but more about Aaron Rodgers' greatness than it does about the Bills not being a great team. Because it's true, he came in and he threw 3 touchdown passes to win the game for his team. And that was after an injury, a knee injury. It might have. He's still, I think, is he questionable for this week? I think he's questionable going into this week. So I think it says more about the greatness of Aaron Rodgers and the head coaching and their offense around them than it does about the Bears. Because I do think the Bears are building to something.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to compete for that division now. I think that it's Minnesota.
Still the third best team.
They're still, I think third, fourth, whatever.
Third.
But they're building. Okay, they have a young quarterback that they can work with, and he is athletic.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. That's the Bears. That's all I can say. After when I saw the final score, I'm like, yeah, this is the Bears, typical fashion. But they don't know how to win. They don't know how to. That's it. They just don't know how to win. They don't know how to close games. Now to Khalil Mack's former team, the Oakland Raiders.
The Raiders.
Did you see John Gruden's interview?
What?
Did you see his post-game interview?
About the skunk? I saw one there. He says there's a skunk in the locker room, a legitimate skunk.
He said that they didn't have they needed a pass rush to get to to get to the quarterback on the other night. Really? Yeah, they needed a pass. So I watched some of that game. It was a close game.
It was. It wasn't as bad as the score looks.
No, it wasn't. But Todd Gurley got going, and they literally could not get a pass. They could not get to the quarterback at all. Jared Goff had all the time in the world. He could just see everything. They were not getting close to him, and not a great start for Gruden. Not a great start for Gruden, especially saying all the Khalil Mack stuff. I think during the pregame interview with one of the reporters, he said Khalil Mack didn't want to be there. Really?
I don't know. I'm still a Gruden fan. I've said this before. I think they made the right decision. They weren't going to invest a bunch of money. I don't think Khalil Mack is going to have those games where he's going to be picking quarterbacks off and stripping and strip sacks. I don't think he's going to have that every year. But he is a great player. But he just wanted too much money, and they're going to have to. Is Carr still on his rookie contract?
No, they gave him a big deal, and he needs to play a whole lot better. He hasn't played good for about 2 years.
Well, you remember people were talking about him as an MVP candidate a couple of years ago, and then he broke his leg close to the playoffs. So I still have hope for the Raiders. I still like Gruden. I always liked Gruden. Like listening to him on Monday Night Football. Yeah. This might be a process, but
a big process. I just don't see how a guy who's been out the game 10 years could actually come and make an impact right away. We're going to wait and see. But
let's move on to another process that's actually seems to be kind of working almost.
The Browns.
What's that? You look like you're a little...
No, the Browns, they had this game. They had ample opportunity to win this game, and they just remembered that they're the Browns, and they just screwed it up. They screwed it up. They had field position. They were driving in the fourth quarter, to kick a potential game-leading field goal, and Tyrod Taylor throws an interception.
It's trying to do too much.
Way too much, especially in the rain. Like, what are you doing? Then, once again, they have the opportunity to kick a game-winning field goal, and it gets blocked, and the game ends in a tie. But
they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
this should be something for them to build on.
Yeah, it should. But before we talk about that, more about the Browns, let's talk about the Steelers and how Ben Roethlisberger looked horrible.
Yeah, he has these games. He has these games once a season where he does this.
He just looks like
what was the total interception?
I think he had 4.
4 interceptions, something like that. Yeah, really high. But he has like 1 or 2 of these games a season, and then he usually comes out the next few weeks fired up and will go for 6 touchdown passes.
Kudos to Denzel Ward, a guy we criticized the pick, and he had a solid game.
You criticized it. I didn't criticize it. I said it was a genius pick, and he's going to make an immediate impact on the Cleveland Browns.
We questioned that pick.
I think we did, because Bradley Chubb was still on the board.
But that was a solid pick. 2 interceptions for his debut, which was solid. He played good coverage on the Steelers wide receivers. So the Browns did, so it's another team. They don't know how to win.
Well, I mean, they're looking better. They tied with probably the second best team in the AFC, a team who's owned their division and destroyed the Browns for years upon years. Yeah. So I think this is something to build on. Jarvis Landry looked good.
Yep.
Josh Gordon. He can be back there, I think. So, and Tyrod Taylor, he looked good in spurts. Yeah. So I don't think it's all bad. I think a tie with the Steelers is definitely good for the Browns, bad for the Steelers. Well, it's not a good look for the Steelers.
Better than a loss. They lost their game last year. So. And a team that a game that everybody was shocked by. Ryan Fitzmagic, he was lighting up the Saints.
It was defense optional. That game.
Very optional. It was a Big 12 game.
Yeah, right. It
really
really
looked like
was
a Big 12 game. Ryan Fitzpatrick was just slinging that thing. He has 6 kids.
No, I knew he went to Harvard because they say that about every single time he completes a pass.
Yeah, he's about to have a 7th kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, Fitzmagic. No wonder why he's still in the league. He needs to.
he needs that paycheck.
Yeah, he needs to feed all those mouths. But yeah, defensive optional. The Bucs wide receivers were just running loose in that secondary. Their defense made a couple plays too. They got a defensive touchdown. This game was basically a team made one more plays than the other team. That was basically it. In the Bucs, that defensive touchdown right there proved to be one of the biggest difference in the game.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway from this week is you need 2 quarterbacks in this league. Look at the difference between having a veteran like Ryan Fitzpatrick come in and he can win you a game, and then counter that with what's going on in Buffalo. You need two quarterbacks, but they don't even have one. And then also, it's a similar situation in the Browns where they have two quarterbacks. We all know that Mayfield is waiting, but they have a Tyrod Taylor right now. The Baltimore Ravens, they have Flacco, and then they have Lamar Jackson in the way. It's just you just need those two quarterbacks that can come in and win the game for you. And then the Packers don't have it. Look at what happens when you have a bad backup. Brent Hundley is terrible. So you really need two quarterbacks, and Fitzpatrick's the guy who's been getting it done for a while.
This is also how Ryan Fitzpatrick always gets picked up, because he'll have these games where you're just like, oh wow, and then if you look at the rest of the season, you'll just be like, why is this guy in the league? But there's always one or two games that he has that allows him to get a team to sign him. So
it's also because his passes are so aesthetically pleasing. Like he has a tight spiral and he can sling it, and he throws it pretty hard too.
Now, our last NFL game that we own, the Chiefs and the Chargers. I call it the Tyreek Hill show. Yes. Because he definitely put on a show against the Chargers.
Who I had in my DraftKings, which we'll talk about coming up next. Good.
I'm not talking about mine. So Tyreek Hill, first punt of the game. Boom, 90 to 91 yards to the house. The Chargers had no answer for him.
This looks like Madden.
Yeah,
this is like
it really
Madden.
does. He was going at top speed, and the Chargers just couldn't stop him. Patrick Mahomes, the guy I was excited to see, 4 touchdowns.
Everybody's excited to see Mahomes.
4 touchdowns in his debut. He played solid football, and he didn't make too many mistakes. Did not make too many mistakes. He looked good out there. He looked comfortable. So the Chiefs found something in Patrick Mahomes. Him and Tyreek Hill are going to be proven to be a problem for the league.
Well, you see why that they felt comfortable getting rid of Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Because Patrick Mahomes, second-year quarterback, another gunslinger, great athlete. They got Kareem Hunt. They got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. They have a solid offense. And the Chargers, I think a lot of people thought that they were the best in this division. The Chiefs, to me, look like they're the best in this division, at least from game one. It's hard to do these game one takeaways. I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to go out of his mind and play this way every week, but he's definitely an exciting player to watch. The Chiefs, right now, they're one of the most exciting teams to watch, along with the Rams, to me.
Yeah, definitely, and this is going to be a problem for a lot of teams to try to handle that. Also, it shows you the benefit of actually having a rookie quarterback sit behind a.
Right, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Because Alex Smith was a professional. He was a solid professional. He did his job. He was productive. He knew how to run an offense. So this shows kind of why it was important for Patrick Mahomes to sit and watch Alex Smith, and it's kind of paying off right now.
Absolutely. Oh, great. This is going to be my favorite segment. Hold on. I got to pull up how many points I actually got last week. If you people followed me from DraftKings last week, you probably did pretty well if you entered any type of money league, because my team put up, what's that? 223 points. Oh my God. Let's just check how many years put up. 102. So, and unfortunately, sorry, Craig, you only put up 97, which kind of expected when you handcuff Flacco with Michael Crabtree. Next week. You guys are still new at this. It's okay. So why don't you go first and tell us who you have in your lineup this week?
If Pedro could pull up my lineup, I do have.
You don't have it in front of you?
No, I don't have it in front of me, but hopefully this week, hopefully I get something. I have Phillip Rivers at quarterback, Adrian Peterson, who had a solid first game of the season, James White, who I think is just a threat in the run and the pass game, Stephon Diggs, solid game last week, Juju had a big game last week.
One of my favorite names in the NFL.
Demaryius Thomas, he also had a solid game, game-winning touchdown against the Seahawks. Jared Cook, who went off against the Rams. The Rams couldn't cover him. They got the ball to him a lot. The speedster, Tyreek Hill, and the Jets defense. I was going to pick the Chargers defense because they're playing the Bills, but I took the Jets defense.
Okay, not a bad line. I'm just not as good as mine. But see, I like to stick with the hot hand, and I always like home quarterbacks. And I'm going to go Drew Brees, of course, and I'm going to mix him with Michael Thomas. There it is. I had them last week. Why not ride the hot hand? Thomas is battling an illness, so if he doesn't play, I might have to sub him out. For my running backs, I'm going to stick with Christian McCaffrey and James White again. They're two guys who are solid. James White's a huge steal, especially in PPR. Look at he put up 15 points last week, and he's still only $4,500. He's going to be coming up later in the season, especially where Burkhead is questionable and Sony Michel is still questionable. Yeah. I also like Jarvis Landry, again, a defense option going up against a defensive optional team in New Orleans, and Emmanuel Sanders. I'm going with the other guy who's 50-50 between him and Demaryius.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then I got Jonnu Smith. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. So he's the backup tight end in Tennessee, and he's a freak athlete. And without Delaney Walker, they're going to have to throw the ball to somebody.
Yeah.
And usually it's easy to get a nice completion to a tight end, short routes over the middle, end zone threat. So I'm going to try him.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, they're playing Texans.
No, they're playing Texans.
And then I'm going to go with Bruce Ellington from Houston, who looked pretty good against us last week. And, of course, my defense is going to – I always try to choose a home defense, so I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos this week.
Yeah, that's a good defense. That's a solid defense to pick. I don't know why they still have Jarvis Landry in a Miami Dolphins jersey.
I just noticed that, too.
Yeah,
they're not really good at updating that stuff.
Well, we're gonna send it to Craig, and he's gonna tell us about his DraftKings lineup, and he may have cried during his session because of what happened to him. So here's Craig with the Fantasy No Huddle.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to No Huddle. I'm on the show after the whistle to give you my DraftKings picks for this week. Last week, I'm sorry if you followed my picks, but they were not stellar. It was first game of the season. I'm allowed one, but the Saints defense destroyed me. I thought the Saints defense was going to stop Tampa Bay, but Fitzmagic just came in and said no thank you, and he shut that down. So this week, I'm hoping to do a little bit better. I think my picks are going to work out really well for you. Starting off with the quarterback, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. Even though he struggled against the Patriots this last week, I think this week he's going up against the Tennessee Titans, and I think that Deshaun Hopkins is going to go off. I don't think that Malcolm Butler is going to be able to stop him. So I think that if you go with Deshaun Watson against Tennessee, that's going to be a really good quarterback pick for you. Following that up with Jay Ajayi. I'm a fan of Jay Ajayi. He's on my team. I put him in my flex. He put up 20 points, and this week he's playing against Tampa. Tampa Bay's defense is not remarkable. Between New Orleans Saints and Tampa Bay, they had the highest scoring opening day game with over 80 points scored, and now they're going up against the Super Bowl champs. So look for Jay Ajayi to get a lot of looks inside the red zone, and look for him to definitely get the ball at the goal line. I'm going to follow that up with, I think, what might be a surprise pick. I'm going with Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson's going to be catching the ball early and often, and I think he's going to get at least one touchdown, and he's going to get a few small runs. So I'm going to go with Chris Thompson. They're going up against Indy. Indy's defense is terrible. Chris Thompson is my guy. I'm going to follow it up with Tyreek Hill. You cannot not put Tyreek Hill in your lineup anywhere. Tyreek Hill is awesome. He ran back a punt for a touchdown. He had multiple passes over 50 yards. So look for Tyreek Hill to maybe embarrass Pittsburgh. I think that if the Cleveland Browns can do it, so can Tyreek Hill. And Patrick Mahomes is a gunslinger, and he's probably one of the most accurate arms in the NFL right now. So look for Tyreek Hill. I'm going to follow that up with another surprise pick back-to-back. Kenny Stills and Robbie Anderson. Both defenses are not remarkable. Both quarterbacks are okay, and I think that they're going to be the focal point of each one of their offenses. So I think putting Kenny Stills and Robbie Anderson at the very low price that they're at right now, I think that's going to ring wins for you. I think you're going to make money off those two picks. Count it. Then for my tight end, I'm going with Jack Doyle. I'm trying to save a little money. So I went with Doyle. He had a really good game. I think he's going to follow it up. Andrew Luck seems to have returned to form. So therefore, I'm going to trust in Doyle, who is a very good tight end, but last year didn't necessarily have a good enough quarterback. I think their quarterback was good. He just didn't have enough time to get ready. So therefore, with Doyle going up against Washington, I'm looking at that as a really good matchup. So therefore, Doyle's in my lineup. Then I'm going to follow that up with Aguilar, who I don't necessarily think is going to be phenomenal, but I think he's going to be good enough to get you that flex position points that you need to put you over the top. And then I'm going to end it with the Texans defense. Texans defense struggled against the Patriots, so they're going to look to make up for that. And they're playing against Tennessee, has no quarterback, has no tight end, and their number one running back, Derrick Henry, did nothing last week. You have J.J. Watt, you have Merciless, and you have Jadeveon Clowney, all on that defensive line going after a quarterback who shouldn't even be in the NFL right now. So therefore, I think the Texans defense is just going to be sacking the quarterback all day, and I think it's going to cause him so much strife that he's just going to be throwing interceptions. And I think that the Texans are going to run away with double-digit points. Look for them to score over 20 points against the Tennessee Titans. So those are my picks for DraftKings. And I hope that you play this at least once, throw 5 on it, come back, double your money. And I love to play 50-50, and that's what's going to happen for you. So my name's Craig. This is No Huddle. Check out my show, The Flex, Wednesday nights at 9, and get your fantasy football advice week to week. Have a good night.
All right, thank you very much, Craig. Hope you do better this week. Not sure if you will, but keep my fingers crossed for you. And make sure, guys, you watch The Flex on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. It's Craig's fantasy football show. Yeah. He might not be good at DraftKings, but he's really good. No, he does know his stuff in the regular fantasies. He's great on the waiver wires. He can get you good lineups. So watch that show for sure. Now let's talk about a different sport, and I want your take on this first because I'm going to save mine. This is Serena Williams. I can't find the video anywhere. I did see it, but it's really not available online. And her, what some people are calling meltdown or argument or disagreement or professional defense of herself, depending upon who you talk to. So let's hear your take first, because I have one that I kind of want to save till the end.
It was interesting because I didn't watch the match, but I was reading, I was seeing, and they said, you know, she was penalized for what was it called, coaching or something like that, or something like that. So my thing is, when she went off on the umpire, number one, she wasn't going to win this match anyway. She was getting destroyed. Yeah, she was getting dominated. She wasn't going to win this match. So this makes it look like, you know, they were trying to help the Naomi or something like that, which wasn't the case. She wasn't losing. But my thing is, the judge. You have a star player. You should have more leeway with a star player. We see it in every single sport. In the NBA, how many times do you see a star player just berate a referee in their face, just yell at the referee?
Oh, never like that. No. Never pointing, saying, you owe me an apology.
Oh, my. Draymond Green is a perfect...
And I guarantee he gets his technical for it.
Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes they give him a leeway. Sometimes, you know, they just, sometimes they just like, the referees take it. And like,
I don't think so.
But... tennis just doesn't respect treat Serena Williams with the respect that she deserves. I mean, was she wrong for doing this? Yeah, but the way it was all handled was just all wrong by everybody. She had the right to be upset. You could be upset, you know. That's fine. You could be upset whatever's going on with the match. You're losing. You're frustrated.
What about the sexism part? Let's get to that.
You've seen it. That people pointed out they've been male tennis players who've done worse, who've said worse to the judge, to the umpires, and they've never got a point deducted or. Okay,
well,
anything.
I've heard that argument. So I don't watch much tennis. I'm not going to pretend to be an arguer. But I decided to turn on my Google machine, aka computer, and to see if those claims held any water. So I kind of looked, and I saw in the past 3 Grand Slams, men had 59 code violations against them, almost twice as many as the women. 9 of them were for coaching. This is just the past 3 Grand Slams. 19 of them were for breaking rackets. 19 were for breaking rackets.
Yeah, I understand.
Carlos Ramos, that's the name of the judge, did this, and I watched this. I don't know why I watched it live, but it was on. He did the same thing to Djokovic this year at Wimbledon. He penalized him, gave him a code violation, first for delay a game, second for breaking his racket. This same ref, this same judge, did the same exact thing to another star player.
So we can say
and he's consistent. And he did the same thing to Nadal and Murray before for talking back to him. So those are 3-star male players with this same judge that he's done the exact same treatment. So this is just, you have to know what judge you're going up against. You have to know that. And this guy, maybe he's a little too tight. Maybe he calls more than other people. Yeah. But if you're a pro, you got to know that. And don't throw the sexism claim out there unless you can actually back it up with fact. I don't think that it's true at all in this situation.
It may be true for some, but
59 code violations in the past 3
against
men.
From what you just said, he's consistent.
He's consistent.
Maybe some other umpires and judges aren't as consistent as he is, or just brush it off aside. But it doesn't take away from the fact that 20-year-old Naomi Osaka, I think that's her last name, she accomplished something big. She probably beat the greatest female tennis player ever at a young age. So there's nothing. Her career is about to go this way. And there's people that are claiming to boycott tennis now, or boycott any Serena.
It's so funny how Americans think of Serena and how the rest of the tennis world thinks about Serena. Yeah. But she has done these type outbursts throughout her entire career. And she's not well liked in Australia. She's not well liked in Europe.
Hence why that magazine that you saw, did you see that?
No. Oh, yes, cartoon. I did see that cartoon. That cartoon was overboard, and that cartoon is inexcusable. Yeah. Clearly a racist cartoon.
Hey, I mean,
I don't know.
Tennis.
It's tennis. If you want your sport to be more like the NBA, like you say, then change the rules. Yeah. But she was out of the bounds of the rules. The judge called it consistently, and anybody who's throwing out these claims can look at this person's record. And John McEnroe in 1990 got thrown out of the Australian Open by a judge, the entire Open, for berating him. So it happens to men.
A combination of frustration, you're losing, you're not going to win. And
exactly.
Everything happens when you're frustrated. Quickly, WNBA news. Last night, it was Game 3 of the WNBA Finals, and Seattle Storm swept the Washington Mystics. And these ladies from the Seattle Storm, they couldn't miss. They hit 13 threes in the game. 13 threes. Breanna Stewart was named the Finals MVP. Now, let me read off her resume, her basketball resume. So, Breanna Stewart, 4-time NCAA champion, 4-time most outstanding player of the Final Four, 151-5 college record. She has an Olympic gold medal. She's a WNBA League MVP. She's a Finals MVP, and she's only 24 years old.
It's incredible.
That is quite the resume.
It's incredible.
And if you watched her and Natasha Howard last night, the Mystics had no answer for either of them. Natasha Howard had 29 points, 14 rebounds. They dominated the Mystics on every end. Offensively, defensively, on the glass. They just dominated this series, and it showed. The game got close for a second, but then those threes, they just kept knocking down threes, and it wasn't like it was wide open threes. These were contested.
They looked contested.
They were contested, and they were knocking them down. So Seattle Storm, congratulations on winning the 2018 WNBA championship. It's a big deal.
Impressive sweep, absolutely.
Very impressive. NBA news, Jabari Bird, what are you doing? He was arrested.
This is strange.
Very strange. I think he's in court right now.
I know that he has been in the hospital and they had to delay the court. Yeah. Did you want to introduce, what happened?
Let me put this up. Yeah, they just brought him. He's in court right now.
Right now being Thursday at around 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so it was some assault
and kidnapping
kidnapping, domestic issues. This all happened about a week ago. I think it happened when we got off air. Everything happens when we get off air. So this, for a young man, I think he was going to be in the Celtics rotation, but for you to put yourself in this situation, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Camp is coming.
They haven't released what the hospital visit is.
No,
but
they
they
haven't.
both went to the hospital.
Yeah.
I have no idea if it was because of a fight or he had some sort of mental, emotional breakdown or whatever it was. I usually hold off judgment on these cases, but
This case is interesting.
This case is interesting, and I'm sure more's going to come out, especially when he's arraigned in court.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look or sound good for Jabari Bird at this point.
No.
A young player who
Yeah.
might have thrown his career down the drain. I don't know. We'll see when more facts come out. But the allegations are very serious, kidnapping and assault.
Yeah, so we got Athletes Corner now. We had some members of the Lynn Classical High team here. We had quarterback Keith Ridley Jr. and wide receiver Nashaun Butler. These two had quite the game the first game of the season. They put up 52 points against Medford. Yeah. So here's Athletes Corner. Hopefully it works. We don't got to do it in post. Welcome to another edition of Athletes Corner. Pedro ain't giving me the cue, but we here. We got two guests. We got two Lynn Classical High seniors, quarterback Keith Ridley Jr. and wide receiver Nashaun Butler. I said your first name right?
Yeah, you said right.
All right, let's go. You guys just had a big game, first game of the season. You guys came out with a bang. Talk about that. 52 points right off the bat.
I'll talk first. We were preparing all week for that performance, and we just felt like we executed to our best potential.
Yeah. Talk about second play of the game, 93 yards. You take it to the house. What happened on that play?
The defense. I looked at the beginning of the game. We talked about it. We were like, the defense, how they bring their defense. It's always going to be a one-on-one. Mm-hmm. So we gave them that look. We were in the slant. He threw me the ball, and I did what I had to do with the ball.
Yeah. This is something you guys talked about. You talked about during camp. You said you guys last year started off fast, and then second half you guys would slow down. But this game, you guys just kept the pedal to the metal. You guys didn't let go of the gas. How that feels, just coming out like that, just start the season off like that.
It felt great because we weren't used to that. Because like you said, we were slow coming out the second half. So when we just came out ready the second half, it was amazing. Like, that's what we've been practicing all off season, so it was great.
Definitely. And one thing they talked about you guys a lot was protection. It seemed like you guys, the offensive line did a great job giving you guys enough time.
Did an amazing job that game.
Yeah, talk about that. Just what they did for you guys.
They've been working hard all off season. It just shows how the hard work has paid off, and they just do their assignments, and they always do it. They don't mess up, and you got to give so much credit to those guys, because if they don't hold up, we can't get the plays off, and we're not the same team.
Yeah, definitely. And for both of you guys, is this the most points you guys scored since you guys have been playing?
Definitely.
Yeah. How does it feel just to put up that many points?
To me, it feels really, really good, because it shows like Classical's back on the map. Classical don't play around, no matter who it is we're playing. You're going to do what we got to do. If he blow you out, we blow you out.
Yeah.
It just shows what we're capable of, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. Also, what I want to look at is also the defensive side of the ball. You guys put up 52 points, held them to 8 points.
Defense has been prepared hard. Coach Murphy has been getting our defense right, and our senior captain, too, Chase, he's a leader of that defense, and he made sure that they weren't scoring as many points as they should. So,
from your perspective, what did you guys see from them offensively that you saw your defense could kind of control the pace, dictate the game?
So like, we knew the quarterback was a pretty good quarterback. He ran the ball a lot. We knew we had to stop him. So over the time of that whole week, we practiced on just focusing on stopping that outside run. He likes to do that quarterback sweep. Yeah. We ended up stopping that. We have Chase, the Fudge. He generates the whole field. And it ended up working out in our favor.
Yeah, definitely. And also for you, Keith, just talk about getting different guys involved. You had your receivers, all of them were getting touches, a few of them were getting touchdowns. So just talk about just getting everybody involved.
Getting everybody involved just makes the game so much easier. They can't just double Nashaun over the top, because if you double Nashaun over the top, we have a couple guys that can get the ball in space like they did against Medford. Cam Green, he's a huge addition to slot, and also Darrell Rucker at slot too, and then we have Mo, big guy, about 6'3", 6'4", out wide too. So we put a little corner on him. We're definitely gonna throw it up there.
And what's the advantage of having Nashaun on, a smaller, quicker guy? What's the advantage of him on the outside?
if he's on one-on-one coverage, it's very, very hard to cover him the whole field. Like, he makes one move, and even if he's open a little bit, if I just throw it ahead of him, he'll go and get it every single time. So it's that trust that we have with each other. We've been with each other for like 2 years now, so it's just getting better and better every single day.
Did you see any double coverage coming your way, Nashaun, throughout the game, or after that first?
I was surprised. I was very surprised. I thought I'd come out the season like, yo, they gotta probably double team you. That's why I put in my head. They're probably gonna double team you. I gotta do whatever I do. When I touch the ball, you gotta make up. But I seen they had no safety and they were playing off on the outside. So I'm like, oh, this game's about to be my game. I gotta do what I gotta do.
On the 34-yard touchdown pass, what did you guys see on the defense on that particular play?
They were playing cover 0, so I easied it. I changed the play call, and we thought our guy was better than their corner, so we just sent him on a deep route. So just let Nashaun run, and I could get the ball there on time.
All right. Now, starting off, always great to start the season off 1-0. Now, you guys, this Friday, you guys got Malden coming here to. So talk about that game. What you guys been preparing for that team?
We have big expectations like every single week. We can't look down on them. We have to look at them like they're great competition, which they are. They have athletes, they have playmakers. They just played Melrose, which is a good football team, and they held up for a while. So we have to be careful of their offense and their defense as well. So we're just looking forward to execute what we've been practicing all week.
And what do you guys, the carryover? I'm sure you're not going to score 52 points every game. You'd like to score 52 points every game. So with the carryover, what if? If the game comes down, it's a low-scoring game. What are some things you guys would need to do in order to come out on top?
Well, Coach tells us, our head coach, Coach Ron, he always tells us, he told us last year, and he told us this year, we're always gonna have to win a game overtime. We're gonna have to fight at the end. So we just keep that in our mind that any team can be beat.
Yeah.
So until it hits 0-0 in the fourth quarter, you got to fight and keep playing and try to put up as much points as we can. We can't do that. We got to stop them on defense.
I think last year helped a lot too, because we've been through 2 overtime games and we've been in situations like that. We have a lot of those guys from that team back here this year, so we just have the experience. We've been in those situations, so we know what it takes to get the W after.
Yeah, and this is you guys got a pretty veteran team. You got a lot of upperclassmen on the team. Just talk about this. This is you guys last year playing together. Just talk about how special this time is for you guys, and how special starting off the way you guys did and just continuing on.
I feel like we have just a lot to prove, even though in the past Classical doesn't have the best record. But we had a good record last year. But I feel like a lot of us seniors have a lot to prove. Like we're still the underdogs.
Yeah.
So this is our last chance to even show what we got. So it's like no holding back kind of type of thing.
David, how does Coach Vaughn help you guys with that?
He helps every single day. He makes everything competition during practice. He reminds us that this is our last year. You only get one shot at this. It's one and done during playoffs. And if you don't take that mindset seriously, you're not going to get to where you want to get.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And Friday, tell the people what time the game's at.
Got you. Friday, I made a bowl at 5 against Malden. Be there.
Be there, be square. Support the local team. Support the city. Support everybody out here. They're doing big things.
Yep.
Hopefully, I get another 52 points on the board.
That's what we're trying.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you guys for coming by. I know you guys
appreciate it.
Came from practice from here straight to here, so you guys had a hectic day. But thank you guys once again for coming. Come back anytime, whenever you guys feel like it. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. You guys been watching Athletes Corner. Back to Brian.
All right, another great Athletes Corner. Thanks again for coming in, guys. We only have about 3 minutes left, so we're just going to do a rundown of our predictions for next week's game. We're not going to do the spread because it was too hard to track actually who won and whatever. So let's just go down and we'll just pick the winners. Nice and simple. Panthers, Falcons.
Panthers.
I'm going to go with the Panthers as well. Colts at the Redskins.
Redskins.
I'm going to go Redskins too. Texans at the Titans.
Titans.
I'm going to go Texans. I think Deshaun Watson's going to have a bounce-back game, and I think
it's 2 weeks in a row.
I think J.J. Watt's going to finally get in there.
Pick the Titans.
Eagles at the Buccaneers. This will be a fun one.
It's at Tampa.
It's in Tampa.
I'm gonna go with Tampa.
You know what? I'm going to go with Tampa too. I didn't check the score, how much of an underdog they are, but I'm going with Tampa. Okay, Chiefs at the Steelers.
Steelers. Chiefs went in there last year and lost. So.
I'm going to go Chiefs. Dolphins at the Jets.
Jets.
I'm not gonna buy into the Sam Darnold magic just yet. I'm gonna go the Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill actually looked pretty good in Week 1. Chargers at the Bills.
Chargers.
Chargers, of course. Vikings at Packers.
Vikings.
Vikings. Browns at the Saints.
Aints.
I'm gonna go with the Browns. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm gonna go with the Browns. Craig would like me for it. Lions at the 49ers.
Niners. That's 2 weeks in a row I picked the Niners.
I'm gonna go with the Niners too. Cardinals at Rams.
Rams.
Patriots at Jaguars.
Pats.
Raiders at Broncos.
Broncos.
Giants at Cowboys.
Damn, do I really have to pick this one?
Yeah, you gotta pick them all.
Cowboys.
I'm gonna go Giants. And now Seattle at Chicago. The Bears.
Seattle.
I'm gonna say Chicago actually pulls one out.
Seattle.
So those are our picks. Oh, and then the Thursday night game, Ravens at Bengals. Even though we already played before this airs. Yeah, I'm gonna go Ravens as well.
No, I'm changing Bengals.
So I'm going Ravens.
No, Ravens. Final answer, Ravens.
I'm going to stick with the Bengals.
College football, quickly. LSU, Auburn.
Oh, love that game. Love it. I'm going to go with the underdog LSU.
I'm going to go with LSU as well.
Yeah, woo!
Ohio State.
And TCU.
That's
good. I'm excited about this game so much. I love when the smaller teams play the bigger teams, but I'm going to go with Ohio State.
And USC, Texas.
USC.
I got.
You didn't pick.
I got USC as well.
And what about Ohio State, TCU?
I have TCU.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're going a lot of dogs this week.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Quickly,
all the time we
there's
have.
a fight this Saturday.
Oh, big one. Triple G versus Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
I didn't like the announcer.
Red Sox clinched the playoffs.
100 wins.
100 wins. This is the first quickest 100 wins since 2001 Marlins.
Huh?
So we run out of time here. We talked a lot. We missed some topics, but that's all right. We got everything that we needed to get out of here. So we'll see you guys next week. We have movie night we have ice cream social coming soon. Come here, ice cream, Mario Kart. Well, here. Bye, guys. Look at my Looney Tunes shirt.
It's good.
Looney Tunes.
We did that pretty quick. I think we got everything in within the 3 minutes.